Dear students, how are you all? So today we are going to discuss another problem from business statistics, particularly graph. Okay, so let us take. So before we are going to proceed the problem, so you should give the like symbol and subscribe this video, share this video to your friends. Okay, let us move to the problem. Construct an OGI and locate the median for the data. Okay, it is nothing but less than curve and more than curve, isn't it? So very important problem and also easiest problem. So class interval and respective frequencies we are given 90 to 10, 100, 100 to 110, 110 to 120, 120 to 130, 130 to 140, 140 to 150 and 150 to 160. These are the class interval and then the respective frequencies are given. Using these data, we are going to draw the graph, okay graph, isn't it? Or less than, more than curve. Okay, so before we are going to proceed the problem, see the class interval. The first interval, see the first interval 90 to 100. See the second interval 100 to 110. So the first two intervals, the value 100, there are two things. The 100, same value 100. In the first interval, it can be called upper limit. In the second interval, it can be called lower limit, isn't it? So this is called continuous class interval. Otherwise, it is called discontinuous class interval. It means the same number lies on upper limit as well as lower limit in the consecutive, isn't it? So please remember, otherwise it is called discontinuous. So if we have continuous, no problem, we can proceed easily. Okay. Otherwise, we have to convert the discontinuous data into class interval into continuous data, isn't it? Okay. So we are given directly continuous intervals, no problem, we can proceed. Okay. Now the calculations. So this is the required calculation before we are going to construct the OGI curve. Okay, first one class interval write as it is and frequency write as it is and also find the total for the frequency. So it is 227. So let us move then third and fourth column. First one less than curve, more than curve. How to calculate less than curve? So already we have done in the earlier video cumulative frequency. Very easiest method to find a less than curve. Let us apply cumulative frequency. It means write the first frequency as it is, that is 16, write as it is, and then take the second frequency, that is 22. So 22 add with 16. 16 means the very first cumulative value, isn't it? So 22 plus 16, it is 38. And then take the third frequency, that is 45. Add with the second cumulative frequency, 38. So 45 plus 38, 83. 60 plus 83, 143. 50 plus 143, 193. 24 plus 193, 217. So 10 plus 217, 227. Okay, this is the way you can calculate cumulative frequency or less than curve. So see the last cumulative frequency 227, it should be same, it should be equal to or same value in summation f. Summation f means the total of the frequency. The total of the frequency should be equal to the last value of the cumulative frequency. Please remember, my dear students, the total of the frequency should be equal to the cumulative last value of the cumulative frequency. Okay, let us move the last one, more than curve. Take the highest cumulative frequency in the first place. So 227, write it in the first place of more than curve. Then consider more than curve and frequency. So kindly skip the middle, that is less than curve. Okay, so my dear students, if you are going to calculate more than curve, kindly skip less than curve. So consider more than curve and then frequency. So 227 minus 16, it is 211. 211 minus 22, it is 189. 189 minus 45, 144. 144 minus 60, 84. 84 minus 50, 34. 34 minus 24, 10. See the last value of the frequency that should be equal to the last value of the more than curve, isn't it? So here we have used subtraction, less than curve we have used addition, isn't it? So please remember, my dear students. So using these data, less than curve and more than curve, we are going to consider the required curves. Okay, the next one, this is the required curve. See, in x-axis I have taken start from 0 90, very first interval the lower limit 90, isn't it? So that next of 0 take 90, 100, 110, etc. up to 170. What about y-axis? So in y-axis, the see the last value of the cumulative frequency, it is 227. This is the highest value, isn't it? So start from 50 or multiples of 10, multiples of 20, 30, whatever maybe you can take, so up to the largest value. In this problem, the largest value 227, that is the high last value of the cumulative frequency. So 50, 100, 150, 200, 250, 300. I have taken in y-axis, that is frequencies. So let us start to plot the value in the graph. See, in the interval, the very first one, 90. So 90, the respective value which is taken from less than curve. So the value is 16. Okay. So for 90 plotted into the x-axis. Okay. So we should not take for 90 16, isn't it? For less than curve, when you are going to draw the less than curve, very take the first interval for lower limit which is plotted in on the x-axis, isn't it? Okay, the same interval take the upper limit, that is 100. So for 100 you can take 16. Okay, I have plotted there, so please kindly check it. And then take the next interval, only take the upper limit. Remember student, for less than curve, take the very first interval, both lower limit as well as upper limit. For lower limit, plotted on the x-axis. For upper limit, start the very first values, that is 16, isn't it? For 90, you take 0. For 100, you take 16. Then from the second interval onwards up to the last, consider only the upper limits, isn't it? For the second, the upper limit 110. So its respective value is 38. So for 110, 38. For 120, 189. For 130, 144. For 140, 84. For 150, sorry, for 100, 16. For 110, it is 38. 120, 83. 130, 143. 140, 193. 150, 217. And 160, 227, isn't it? So the green color curve, it represents less than curve, it means the ascending order way. Okay, after completing this, just take this more than curve, that is 227. So take the very first interval, the lower limit 90. For 90, you just take the 227. See the diagram, for 90 it is 227. Then the second interval, the lower limit, that is 100. Only consider the lower limit for more than curve. For less than curve, consider for each interval except the first interval upper limit. Here, more than curve, consider only lower limit of each interval except the last interval, isn't it? So for 100, you can take 211. For 110, 189. 120, 144. 130, 84. 140, 34. For last interval, 150, you can take that value, that is 10. And then the upper limit 160, it lies on the x-axis, isn't it? So remember students, when you start to draw a less than curve as well as more than curve, both curves should be meet at or on the x-axis, isn't it? So here less than curve start in 90. Similarly, more than curve at ended at 160, isn't it? So both curves. So the violet color represent more than curve, and also it is not completed, and also we have to plotted in the intersection point, isn't it? From the intersection point, draw the perpendicular line which touches the x-axis. That particular point is called the median of the curve, isn't it? So we have to calculate in the diagram itself, it touches in between 120 130, approximately it lies in between 150 120 to 130. We have to calculate the median exact value. So the next one, we have to use the formula for the continuous class interval. This is For median, L is equal to median equal to L plus n by 2 minus Cf by F into C. So here n by 2, that is 227 by 2, it is 113.5. Then L equal to 120, F equal to 60, Cf equal to 83, and C equal to 10. How? So already we know the 227 by 2 is a total of the frequency, isn't it? That is called n. N equal to total of the frequency. That is 227 by 2, it is 113.5. So my dear students, see here, consider only less than curve. It means cumulative frequency, isn't it? See, this is the value n by 2. See here, n by 2, 113.5, isn't it? 113.5 here is there. So that particular point lies in between this 83 and 143, isn't it? So let us choose the interval 83 and 143. So definitely in this interval the value n by 2 lies. So consider the largest cumulative frequencies corresponding limits 120 to 130. So here 120 is the lower limits, so I have chosen. So L is equal to 120. And then what about F? F is here, the respective, the same interval, the respective frequency 60 I have chosen. That is called okay F. Then what about CF? Go to here, that 113 lies in between 83 and 143. So let us choose the least among the two, least cumulative frequency 83. So let us fix, that is cumulative frequency. And what about C? C is equal to each interval, the difference between each interval is 10, isn't it? So that is C. Okay, so this is how you have to calculate each value. Okay, don't consider more than curve, only consider for median less than curve. Then substitute the value. I got 125.08. See the diagram. See the diagram 125. So the value, mid value, the intersection from the intersection point, I have drawn the perpendicular line to the x-axis. It touches in between 120 to 130. So our problem is very correct. Okay, so I hope all you understood. So if you have any doubt, put it in the chat box. Thank you, my dear friends.